Welcome everyone. Uh, Today I am going to analyze one of the game which has been recently played in the Super Sunday event, which is held uh, by Bardhaman District Chess Association in Durgapur. The BDCA is actively promoting chess in Durgapur, and number of participants play on Sundays and try different uh, openings, and they try to know about their development in chess. So today we are going to look into a game played between Miss Pratiti Gorai and Mr. Jaysurya Bhattacharya, which was played in 6th of December uh, 2020. So Pratiti Gorai, Miss Pratiti Gorai is basically a player around 1300 FIDE rating, and Mr. Bhattacharya is around 1200 rated player. So the game started with first move d4. Mr. Bhattacharya played knight f6. Then Miss Gorai continued bishop f4. Pratiti is basically a London player, so she plays this opening quite frequently. Mr. Bhattacharya replied g6. Then white played knight c3. In London system, uh, generally you try to play this setup e3, then c3, this knight, it comes to bd2, this bishop goes to bishop d3, and this knight jumps to f3. So this is in general the setup that is being played in London. But recently, the more popular version of London system is nowadays played. It is called Jobawa Rapport system or Jobawa London. Here, white immediately plays knight c3. Then black continued bishop g7 and white played e4. So it's very good to put all your pawns at the center, and these pawns they control too many squares at the center. So white is having a better structure and better piece development compared to black. Then seeing that white is controlling a chunk of the central squares, black played d6, and the intention is to develop this bishop and play e5 at certain point of time. Then white played bishop e2. Now in London system, as I have already said, the bishop goes to d3. But here d3, this bishop, if it goes to d3, does not have a future, as because black is having a fianchetto's bishop structure, and this diagonal is essentially blocked. So bishop e2 is considered to be a better move compared to bishop d3. In some cases, white also plays bishop c4. Anyway, the game continued castle, and here this is the first critical moment of the game. Generally, in this kind of structure, white plays first h3, which basically stops any bishop g4 coming, followed by h3, followed by knight f3, and then castle. So this essentially completes its development. All his pieces are at good places, and then white can attack h4, h5, and then try to swap these pawns and open the h file. Even white can also castle on the queen side and do this. But here Pratiti played a move which is not considered to be a good one, and that is f3. Now, why f3 is not good? First, the purpose of this bishop e2 was to play h4, h5, and then possibly give a uh, sacrifice on that h5 square. So, this bishop was essentially controlling that h5 square. Moreover, it hinders the development of this knight. It hinders this knight, and as a result of which it delays the development of white pieces. So f3 is not considered to be a good move. Rather, knight f3 would have been played. In another game between Espianco and Balasho, the game went knight f3 in place of f3, and then black played knight c6, castling, bishop g4, and then d5. So this was drawn. Uh, anyway, so we'll get back to our own original game. So after f3, which is not a good move, Mr. Bhattacharya played knight c6, and here black is putting pressure on d4 as well as on e5 squares. Now at some point, black is definitely going to play e5. So here white played queen d2. The intention is to castle queen side. That is an okay move. However, uh, black has better plans at his disposal compared to white. As because his development is more or less complete, the moment this bishop comes out, eh, his development will be over. Whereas white is still struggling to develop his knight and this rook. So one more thing here, white actually plans, in addition to castling queen side, he plans to put his bishop on this h6 square and would try to exchange the dark square bishop, so that his black will have dark square weaknesses. So seeing that, black played rook e8. Black now with this move, black attempts to do two things uh, in one move, and that is he intends to play e5 as well as he doesn't want to exchange his bishop. This bishop will possibly drop down to bishop h8 and keep this diagonal for its attack. Let's see what happens. However, in place of rook e8, there could have been a much better move, and that is knight into d4. Because after queen into d4, e5 comes with a tempo. This kind of moves are generally favored because now it is black who controls lot of central squares. His bishop is going to jump to either e6 or d7, and after the queen retreats, this diagonal will again be opened for further attack, and black would be having a much better position compared to white. However, after rook e8, bishop e3 is what played. White sees that knight into d4 could be a problem. So the bishop comes back to bishop e3. Now black plays bishop d7, white castles queen side. Now after these moves, the position is basically equal. Now white actually intends to play e5, and at some point of time definitely white intends to play e5 and tries to block this diagonal. But here black played a6. This again I cannot comment, but this I think to me it's not a very good move, as white black could easily now play e5 and thereby deferred but deny white to go to play with his actual intention. Here white, this is the second most critical moment of this game, and here white made a big mistake. Here, white could seize the initiative with e5, but what white played is d5. Now, d5 is a bad move. Now, why d5 is a bad move? Because it essentially opens the diagonal for this bishop, and any fianchetto bishop, if it uh, diagonal is opened, it becomes extremely powerful. And we'll see in this game, this bishop will decide the fate of the game. Here, actually, white could have got much better position by playing e5. So, these are very minute things in a chess game where a single pawn move can eventually decide the fate of the game. So, this is a beautiful example of such intricacies of chess. And now enjoy the further moves and see how black basically demolishes white structures. So here black goes back to knight e7, knight a7. Knight e5 could also be one of the possibility, but knight e7 is okay because black wants to reroute his bishop to b5, and then if this knight gets swapped, black would open this a file for further attack. Now white continued with his plan of bishop h6. Now this is another critical moment. Now black has to decide whether he should exchange this dark square bishop, or he wants to keep his own dark square bishop. Obviously he should keep his dark square bishop because now this bishop is going to decide the fate of the game. So this is a very good move played by Mr. Bhattacharya. Now white played h4, pursuing his ambition to open the king side. Now black played c6. His idea is to attack the center and open the c file. g4 was played by white. Now black develops his knight to a better square, and any knight exchanges would definitely favor black because either it can open this a file, or if with the c pawn, then this rook will come to c8 and c file will be semi opened and will cause trouble to the white king. The other possibility that black could have played was c into d5, thereby directly opening this file for the rook, and e into d5 would be followed by knight b5, knight into b5, followed by a into b5. Now this opens both this this is a semi-open file for the black rook. Even the other rook can come down from this and attack the king. And as you can see, the two of the black pieces are extremely pathetic. They are actually not participating in the game. If you give a much closer look at this position, you will also find that this bishop is almost half dead. This bishop is at a very good square, but it is not doing much to the uh, attack. Neither it can come for its king's defense. So, all in all, black's position is much better compared to white. But after this knight b5 move, what white played is absolutely horrible. White should have continued with d into c6, and he should have dropped down his knight to b1. That is what white should have done for the safety of its king. But what white did is h5. Without thinking the extent of trouble it is inviting. And the trouble begins now. The knight, the main defender of the king side, is first swapped. He cannot play queen into c3, as because it will lead to this knight jumping to e4 with a discovered attack. Now you can realize the power of this bishop. Then after b into c3, you can see all these squares, all these dark squares are completely weak on the king side. Not only dark squares, some light squares are definitely weak. So these squares are pretty much weak. This pawn itself is very weak, and there is absolutely no defender to save his king. And see this condition of this knight and rook. These are really sorry figures. Now queen a5. Now white realizes that the trouble is coming, and now immediately black attacks this pawn. So white played king b1, which is another mistake. Rather than playing this king b1, he should have moved his queen somewhere so that this king should have an escape route and coming towards a place where the king has more number of pieces to defend. But instead of doing that, the king moved to a position where it does not have any defender to safeguard. And then Mr. Bhattacharya played excellently thereafter, and he immediately attacks, sacrifices his knight, mm, because any any move like f into e4 will immediately bring the bishop to the attack and thereby forcing checkmate. So this knight cannot be taken. So white played queen f4, but even then, Met cannot be stopped, and the game ends pretty soon. Knight into c3, king c1, knight into a2 check. This king cannot escape through this route as the queen is aiming at that particular square. So the king drops back to b1. Now queen b6 check. Now there is only one move, that is king into a2 and then queen b2 mate. An excellent game played by black, seeing the power of this dark square bishop and a simple error in the opening phase of the game where uh, white could not decide which pawn to move and eventually moved a pawn which almost demolishes her structure. And the funny thing of this game that you will see is that in spite of all these pieces not actively participating in the game ends. So, from this game, what we learn is that whenever somebody is pushing a pawn, they should think twice and decide whether that is favoring him or it is favoring his opponent. So, this is all for today. In the next Super Sunday, I'll analyze another game which is supposedly will be the best game of the event. So, thank you as of now. Thank you.